Are you disappointed that it's me? No.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 21 best young adult books of each year.
I'm Randy Rebai, the author of Patron Saints of Nothing. The story is about a Filipino-American teen named Jay.
These twins have always been inseparable, and then something happens and tragedy strikes and it tears them apart.
Hormones. They're feeling hormones, and we just call it love so that we have something grand to live for. Otherwise, life seems really mundane and just a random series of events that you have no control over until you die.
For this list, we'll be looking at the best YA books to be released each year between 2000 and 2020. Did your favorite make the list? Let us know in the comments. 2000, Stargirl, Jerry Spinelli.
It's easy to get confused when we're moving so fast, and to think we're doing the right thing.
Jerry Spinelli's 2000 novel Stargirl tells the simple story of an extraordinary girl named Stargirl Caraway, who shows up at a new school and struggles to fit in because of her unique and quirky personality. While many young adult books deal with real-life tragedies or fantastical scenarios, this is a more relatable story of learning to be yourself in the face of run-of-the-mill adversity. Like many of the books on our list today, this one got the screen treatment when it was adapted into a movie for Disney Plus starring singer Grace VanderWaal.
People aren't happy because they win. They win because they're happy.
2001, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and Brashares.
Ta-da! Tibby, you're a babe! Tibby, you look amazing. Turn around!
This popular YA gained even more popularity after being turned into a Hollywood movie. But the book itself is worth reading even if you've already seen the film. Telling the story of 4 teenage besties who are spending their first summer apart, the novel ties all of their plotlines together with a seemingly magical pair of jeans that somehow fits all of their different body types. They mail the pants to each other throughout the summer and learn how to remain close while being physically separated.
I just got them back from Lena.
The one in Greece?
Yeah, she said that we were right all along, that they really are magic, and I don't know the details, but I do know Lena, and for her to say that means that it must be true.
2002, Feed, Matthew Tobin Anderson.
Science fiction really has always been, even though it appears to be about the future, has always very much been about the present that the author was living in.
2002 saw the release of M.T. Anderson's novel Feed, which takes the cyberpunk aesthetic and uses it to tell a story about consumerism and the power of big tech. It's told from the perspective of Titus, a teenage boy who begins to resist the highly consumerist dystopian world around him. A world where people have been given brain implants and are constantly inundated with messages from major companies.
So you're telling me they broadcast commercials into people's dreams?
Of course.
But how is that possible?
With the way that society has progressed since 2002, this would make for a compelling reread. How did this one never get made into a movie or TV series?
Science fiction often is a great way to tell a kind of a fable about how the world is right at that moment.
2003, Boy Meets Boy, David Levithan. While today there are entire subgenres of LGBTQ+ fiction, back in 2003, it wasn't quite as easy to find a gay love story at your local bookstore.
It's a good section.
Luckily, Boy Meets Boy provided a safe haven for many readers, telling the story of Paul and Noah's high school romance, which takes place in a progressive, utopian, queer-friendly small town in New England. As you might expect from the novel's title, the book takes on the classic boy meets girl trope and switches it up for the new millennium, creating a modern rom-com with plenty of staying power. 2004, Crank, Ellen Hopkins.
The interesting thing about writing for teens is I don't think I ever consciously decided to do that.
Author Ellen Hopkins wrote 2004's Crank based loosely on her own daughter's experience with addiction to methamphetamines. The author takes this deeply personal subject matter to spin a tale about a troubled teen that resonated with the young and old alike. The writing style is unique, not following familiar prose patterns, but instead resembling free verse poetry. Since its publication, Crank has become a staple in high schools, as well as in drug education and rehabilitation programs because of its careful handling of difficult subject matter.
The real message I want my readers to get is no matter what they're experiencing, they're not alone in those issues.
2005, Twilight, Stephenie Meyer.
Hello. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to introduce myself last week. I'm Edward Cullen. You're Bella?
Yes.
Before Twilight was a major movie franchise, it was simply a paranormal romance novel written by Stephenie Meyer. The novel was hugely popular, becoming a worldwide phenomenon and inspiring a passionate fandom as well as sequels, and of course, major Hollywood films. The love story between the human Bella and the immortal vampire Edward grabbed teens' attention and swept them into an unforgettable saga. Each book in the series becomes increasingly complex, but the first, released in 2005, holds a special place in the hearts of fans around the world.
Calm as you see him, Bella.
Okay.
2006, Pretty Little Liars, Sara Shepard. Many are familiar with the Pretty Little Liars TV show that aired on ABC from 2010 to 2017.
This is all my fault. I made you choose my family over yours.
You didn't make me do anything.
But before Rosewood's convoluted missing person story hit our screens, it was told in a 16-book series by Sara Shepard, which debuted with 2006's novel of the same name. The books tell the tale of a group of girls whose friend went missing several years earlier and who are now being tormented by an unknown figure. If you're a fan of the show, know that it's a pretty loose adaptation of the novels, so there are plenty of brand new twists and turns to be found if you go back and read the books.
I think you've had enough.
Actually, you don't know what I think. You didn't even know the half of it.
2007, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, J.K. Rowling. The first Harry Potter book was released in 1997, and a decade later, the franchise had become an unbeatable force in the publishing world. The final novel in the series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, was released in 2007 and wrapped up the story of Harry's battle with the Dark Wizard Voldemort. The final novel took readers to places they'd never been before, including Godric's Hollow, Malfoy Manor, and new corners in the vaults of Gringotts Wizarding Bank. The ending of this hugely popular series was always going to be bittersweet for fans, but it certainly went out with a bang.
So there you are. Those are the Deathly Hallows.
2008, The Hunger Games, Suzanne Collins.
I volunteer! I volunteer as tribute!
When the first novel in Suzanne Collins' series was released in 2008, it cemented the dystopian trend for years to come. The book looks at a grim future where the United States has split into factions and is separated into districts where wealth disparity is rampant. Young people from each district are forced to compete in a fight to the death for the entertainment of the wealthy ruling class. Protagonist Katniss Everdeen disrupts the expected cycle, however, and changes the games forever with her skills and bravery. It's a compelling page-turner that in 2012 was turned into an equally entertaining film.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
2009, Hush Hush, BECCA FITZPATRICK.
It took me 5 years to write the book.
2009 brought us several YA adults that followed in familiar footsteps. James Dashner's The Maze Runner felt tailor-made for Hunger Games fans, and got a big screen adaptation in 2014.
Progress is slow. People are scared.
But we're giving this entry to BECCA FITZPATRICK's Hush Hush, which, like Twilight, focuses on a romance between a mortal teenage girl and a paranormal being. In this case, the mortal is Nora Gray, and her love interest is Patch, who turns out to be a fallen angel.
When I first started writing Hush Hush, I did not know that Patch was going to be a fallen angel. I knew that he was going to be the ultimate bad boy.
Many of the paranormal romance tropes are present in this novel, but it has a fresh cast of characters and a unique premise to set it apart from the pack. The novel spawned 3 sequels, but has yet to receive the big screen treatment. 2010, Will Grayson, John Green, and David Levithan.
David and I have been working on this book for more than 5 years, since Before Looking for Alaska was published.
2 popular YA novelists, John Green and David Levithan, teamed up to create this unique writing experiment. Will Grayson is told from the perspective of two teenage boys, both of whom happen to share the same name.
The book is about two guys, both of whom are named Will Grayson, who are different people, and David writes from the perspective of one Will Grayson, and I write from the perspective of the other, and in the middle of the book, they meet.
Chapters alternate between the two characters, with all of Will Grayson 1's chapters being written by John Green, and Will Grayson 2's chapters being written by David Levithan. The authors use this unconventional format to show how different the high school experience can be, while also focusing on the bonds that bring us all together.
When I was little, my dad used to tell me, Will, you can pick your friends, and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
2011, Legend, Marie Lu.
Hi, my name is Marie Lu. I'm the author of the Legend series.
Keeping with the dystopian YA trend, Marie Lu's novel Legend takes inspiration from a unique source, the 1998 film adaptation of Victor Hugo's novel Les Miserables.
Shepard, I need to see you immediately. Alone.
Lu takes cues from the well-known tale, but turns the characters of Valjean and Javert into teenagers living in a dark, futuristic version of Los Angeles ruled by a totalitarian state.
So the Eastern United States becomes the colonies of America, which is at war right now with the Republic of America.
The novel is exciting and action-packed, keeping readers on the edge of their seats throughout the entire wild ride. It's the first in a 4-book series, so there's plenty more to enjoy when you finish. 2012, Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. Benjamin Alire Sáenz.
When I listen to my students, I learn new words and new ways of using language, and they remind me that language doesn't belong to me, it belongs to all of us.
2012 was a big year for YA novels, seeing the release of major hits like The Fault in Our Stars and Shadow and Bone, both of which were adapted for screens. While our top pick for 2012 may have flown a little more under the radar, it was no less beloved. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe is set in 1987, which makes it stand out as so many of the most popular YA stories are set in the future. It focuses on two Mexican-American teenagers as they try to figure out their identities and places in the world.
I was thinking that once you love someone, you could never unlove them.
Fans were thrilled in early 2021 when the author announced a sequel entitled Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World. 2013, Fangirl, Rainbow Rowell.
This is Kat, fanfiction writer extraordinaire. Navigating the world of fanfiction has been a breeze. But real life? Not so much.
Rainbow Rowell's 2013 novel Fangirl has a unique premise, focusing on a new college student who moonlights as a successful online fanfiction writer. The world she writes about is based on a series called Simon Snow, a fantasy franchise that bears a striking resemblance to the story of a boy wizard we've all come to know and love. The main character has to figure out how to merge her online persona with her real life.
Can Kat find her place at college while still being true to herself?
As a mark of Fangirl's popularity, Rowell actually went on to write 2 spin-off novels that are actually set in the Simon Snow universe. How meta is that? 2014, I'll Give You the Sun, Jandy Nelson. Jenny Han's To All the Boys I've Loved Before is dear to our hearts.
I write a letter when I have a crush so intense that I don't know what else to do.
But it's I'll Give You the Sun that wins a spot in our list. Jandy Nelson's novel focuses on twin siblings Jude and Noah. The pair has many similarities, primarily in their interest in the art world. But an event occurs that severs their bond and leads them to keep major secrets from one another.
The novel's told in dueling point of views, from Noah's perspective when the twins are 13 and from Jude's when they're 16, on the other side of the tragedy.
The novel deals with some difficult themes, including death, betrayal, adultery, and teenage sexuality. It received a number of positive reviews and accolades, including the Prince Award for Excellence in Young Adult Literature, Bank Street's 2015 Josette Frank Award, and YALSA Top 10 Best Fiction for Young Adults.
I can't tell him, though. How could I? So I turn back around, jump the steps, open the door, and go inside without looking back.
2015, Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Becky Albertalli.
Hey, morning. Oh,
While you may have seen the movie Love, Simon, you may not have realized it was based on a novel by Becky Albertalli with the slightly wordier title Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda. Like the film, the book focuses on a gay teenager, Simon Spear, who's struggling to come out to his family and peers.
Anyway, I've been thinking about why I haven't come out yet. Maybe it's because it doesn't seem fair that only gay people have to come out. Why is straight the default?
When Simon strikes up an online romance using a pseudonym, a classmate threatens to reveal his identity and out him to the entire school. The novel received a number of awards, including the William C. Morris Award from the American Library Association and the German Youth Literature Prize.
You get to exhale now, Simon. You get to be more you than you have been in a very long time.
2016, The Sun is Also a Star, Nicola Yoon.
I always believed it would take a lifetime to understand the human heart. In the end, all it took was a single day.
Two teenagers meet by chance in New York City in Nicola Yoon's romantic YA novel The Sun is Also a Star. Natasha and her family are facing deportation, having immigrated to the US illegally from Jamaica, and she's trying to meet with a lawyer so they can stay in the country. Daniel is dealing with his family's high expectations of him as he heads to a college interview with a Yale alumnus, while actually dreaming of writing poetry. When the two meet, they end up spending the day together, and Daniel, the romantic, tries to convince Natasha he can make her fall in love with him.
What if I told you I could get you to fall in love with me? Scientifically.
How is that humanly possible?
Just give me a day. One day.
2017, The Hate You Give, Angie Thomas.
Is it for failing to signal my lane change or for failing to turn down my music? Which one? Sir, out of the car now. Either you get out of the car yourself or I'm gonna do it for you. Now!
Written by Angie Thomas, The Hate You Give is essential reading. The novel was inspired by the police shooting of Oscar Grant in Oakland, California in 2009. The story is told by a 16-year-old named Star who witnesses their close friend being shot and killed by a white police officer. In the aftermath of the killing, Star has to walk a fine line between the life at home in a poor neighborhood and the life she lives at the largely white private school she attends. In 2018, it was adapted into a critically acclaimed film, with Amandla Stenberg doing an excellent job of bringing Star to life.
We see it all, and we will not stop until the world sees it too!
2018, The Poet X, Elizabeth Acevedo.
I really do think about the language of experience that my characters have, right? Like, what are they exposed to? What are the different kinds of reference points that they would have?
Writer Elizabeth Acevedo is known for her slam poetry, which plays a major theme in the young adult novel The Poet X. The book's protagonist, Xiomara, lives in Harlem and is conflicted between her mother's expectations of her and her own desires to express herself through poetry.
So we should not teach and harm. They must be mutually exclusive.
The book was hugely well regarded, bringing in a number of nominations and awards, including the Los Angeles Times Book Prize for Young Adult Literature, the National Book Award for Young People's Literature, and the Michael L. Prince Award for Best Young Adult Literature.
And I think that that kind of line is what I most want readers to find, that their voice, as unique as it is so important to be heard.
2019, Patron Saints of Nothing, Randy Rebai.
I was 10, and it was my first time back in the country where I'd been born.
Patron Saints of Nothing is Randy Rebai's third book, and won him the Freeman Award for Achievements in Literature for Young Readers. It focuses on Jay, a Filipino-American teenager who decides to go to the Philippines after one of his cousins is killed there in the country's drug war.
Jay kind of has his doubts about what really happened, and he ends up going to the Philippines for his spring break to try to find out the truth about his cousin.
Once there, he confronts issues of his own identity, realizing he doesn't fit in on either side of the world. The author himself is also Filipino-American, and clearly drew on his own experience in writing this impactful fictional story.
This story began with a question. It started with me kind of reading about what's happening in the Philippines and kind of asking myself, what right do I have as a Filipino-American, as somebody who hasn't lived there for many, many years, to kind of voice my opinion on what I saw as injustices.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. 2020, Grown, Tiffany D. Jackson.
I first met Jimmy the summer before my sophomore year of high school. I was 15 and he was 22.
2020 was a difficult year for everyone, but it saw the release of some truly incredible and groundbreaking YA novels. Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson is a searing look at abusive relationships and what it's like to grow up as a young Black girl. It's told from the perspective of Enchanted, an aspiring singer who finds herself swept into the world of successful R&B singer Corey Fields.
He knew better. I wanted to really talk about that, particularly with this book. Especially I wanted to highlight how girls can be manipulated, particularly by grown men.
But one morning, Enchanted wakes up with her hands covered in blood and no memory of the previous night. Corey is dead, and Enchanted has to unravel the mystery of what happened to them both.
I really wanted to shine a light on the idea that, girls can truly be manipulated and lured into abusive relationships.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.